Raghu. Shall we begin or do we wait for some more participants to join
Sure,
in?
sure. Please.
We probably wait for a minute or so and then we can begin.
Sure. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I need to add my presentation, so I just go to the share screen or?
Yeah, share screen.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the IIT Madras FedEx Smart Center team, I'd like to welcome you this evening. I'm just going to give a brief introduction about the center, about our speaker, and then hand over to Mr. Raghu. I hope I'm audible. The IIT Madras FedEx Smart Center began as a collaboration with FedEx in 2023. It is a center for sustainable supply chain modeling, algorithms, research, and technology. It began mainly with a vision to spark transformative innovation in the logistics sector. With 52 R&D projects, the center focus areas span across air cargo optimization, employee wellness, demand forecasting, electric vehicle optimization, social and environmental sustainability, multimodal vehicle routine, and warehouse workers' performance and safety. I'm going to share a short video on the center. It's just a 1-minute video.
Established in 2023, at the heart of the IIT Madras-led FedEx Smart Center is the drive to nurture and transform the next generation of leaders through knowledge dissemination programs led by distinguished faculty and talent outreach initiatives. Here, students, researchers, and faculty work closely with industry experts from FedEx to solve real-world logistics and operations challenges. These young minds work on live projects that include everything from last-mile delivery optimization to predictive maintenance and dynamic routing. Let's take a look at how these students thrive within the ecosystem of the IIT Madras-led FedEx Smart Center.
I think my work at the FedEx Smart Center contributes to real-world logistics scenario by providing a solution which is applicable to last-mile delivery and mid-mile delivery, and it is something which is very much relatable to real world.
So I come from a non-technical background and I learned Python and everything from scratch. FedEx has empowered me to do well in terms of problem solving and the coding.
For every student that walks through these doors, the IIT Madras-led FedEx Smart Center is more than just a place for knowledge advancement. It is a place for community bonding, friendship, peer learning, and strong social connections. And for many students, it is home.
Thank you for watching, everyone. The seminar series began as a vision to create knowledge dissemination platforms for our researchers, interns, faculty, students, and industrial professionals. Today's seminar is a part of that vision. The seminar is on cross-border logistics, sustainability, and intelligent decision-making by Mr. Raghu, Regional P&L Head, South for Rohlig Logistics. Mr. Raghu is a logistics and supply chain professional with over 23 years of experience in freight forwarding, global trade and international business. He began his career on the ground, selling cargo space, stuffing containers, coordinating shipments, and managing customers long before real-time tracking and digital tools became the norm, and gradually grew into national leadership and P&L roles across Indian and multinational logistics organizations. He holds a master's program in international business from Ph.D. Institute of Management, Coimbatore, and is a certified Lean Six Sigma Green Belt CargoWise certified professional with additional training in emerging technologies and AI. Mr. Raghu has authored a book called Cargo and Civilization, which is an attempt to translate 2 decades of lived logistics experience into a narrative that connects trade, technology, geography, and human behavior. We welcome you, Mr. Raghu, to today's seminar series. I'm handing over the floor to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm introduction, I would say that. Though many of it may not fit, but then, yeah, I would still thank you for this introduction and that. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm audible. Is it quite clear? I think in case you find any disruption, feel free to let me know so I can change the mic or something like that. Thank you for being here on a Friday afternoon, and thank you IIT Madras and FedEx Smart Center for inviting me, first of all, for this honored program. And though it is a honor to speak in this seminar, but I would still say that it is very exciting to be part of it because of the wonderful minds of IIT Madras, the people who really are absorbed in doing research, finding something great for our country. So all the great minds are here today and listening to this. Though I'm not highly technical qualified by compared to any of you, now I'm going to share you more of from an experience perspective in the freight logistics from the day from 2002 where I was here in that. So I have some about totally 27 slides. So that's about it. And I hope I would be able to communicate and deliver to your expectation in that. Okay, so I'm just connecting the slides. Just a second. There's some problem in sharing the screen. Just a second. Sorry, is it visible? Because I'm not sure if the screen is visible here.
It came and went off.
Is it visible
Yeah,
now?
yeah. It's visible now. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
perfect.
visible. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So just on the video here. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, you can see the slides, right? You can see the slide?
Yes, yeah, we can see the slides.
Okay, perfect. So today's topic, which we intend to discuss, is on the cross-border logistics through sustainability and intelligent decision making. That is, I'm not sure if everybody is aware of the cross-border logistics, but however, I've put a slide to explain to you because I believe there are many participants from different streams, so I will take some time to explain on this. So again, once more, thank you for IIT Madras FedEx Smart Center for inviting me for this online seminar. So let's go directly into this. So this is the second slide. So I just wanted to first introduce the organization I'm working for. I work for this company called Rohlig Logistics. Rohlig Logistics is one of the oldest. It's in 1850s. The company has started. It's a family-run business headquartered in Germany, and we are currently with about present in about 35 countries with our own offices. Rest of the world we operate through our exclusive agents, and we are into about the current management is about 6th generation entrepreneurs who started this company, and we move around 290,000 containers, that is 20 feet equivalent units globally, and about 119,000 tons of air freight globally. So this is about it, and the global revenue is about 1.35 billion euros. We are neither very large company nor we are very small. We fit into the model of what most customer prefers, a flexible model where customers, expect us to service them. So that's about our company, and yeah, we are very committed to sustainability, green logistics, and a lot of investment and support gone into this particular initiative. Okay, so having said this, I'll move on to the next slide. Let's come to the decision punch. I would like to start with the decision. So here, something in our industry, okay, in shipping, freight forwarding, logistics, which is cross border, every day or every minute, everybody is under pressure for taking decisions. Okay, the real situation here is when a pressure comes for taking certain decisions, there's a little bit of omission on the emissions or carbon and related sustainability. So here I've given two scenarios which we face almost every day, every other day. Okay, or every hour we take these decisions for on behalf of a customer, or a customer takes these decisions. Option one, we air freight a shipment. That is from, for example, if you are in Chennai, we air freight this particular shipment to a different country. When you air freight a shipment, it is faster. It may be an urgent shipment, and then the customer would require this for a critical production line, not to stop the production line for various reasons in it. Now, for this decision, the emission is multifold. The carbon emission emitted out of the aircraft is very high. Next, option B is ocean freight, which may take, for example, from here to Europe, it may take 30 days, but low emission, but it will not reach on a critical on time. Okay, so there are two decisions what we need to take. This is our daily, day in and day out. We go through this particular circumstances. Okay, so in this particular case, like I'm not sure if what would be the decision would anybody take. Do we go for the moral decision of sustainability, or do we go for a kind of critical thing to satisfy our customer requirement? So this is where our decision points are. That's why the topic of today, what we are talking about, sustainable cross border with intelligent decision. So what decision would you take here is where the question lies. So the entire slides what we have prepared is based on what decision we are going to take under pressure in circumstances, in various circumstances. So this is very critical in it. When we talk mostly, when we talk about what is logistics, it is all about these decisions here. Okay, So we will go through the slides, and you end of the presentation, probably you can answer yourself on that. Now here, when we think of logistics, what we think generally, what we talk about is, generally we talk about sustainability, then we talk about electrical vehicles, then we talk about windmills and solar or the other alternative source of energy. But have we ever thought, like for example, our own efficiencies and decisions, how much of carbon emission can we save based on our own decision? So this particular area's asset light model, which I'm talking about, the efficiency of reducing about plus 10% of carbon emission just by your own intelligent decision, you can save about it. So that is where it is. So the largest problem what we face today we face in our industry, or where we have it, it is about, you know how does logistics matter for climate change? Okay, sustainability is all about climate change. And why the climate change? As you know, the reasons why we take these decisions, primarily because at some point of time, this is going to affect us and the next generation. So for that reason is why we are talking about climate change here. Okay, now here what we are talking about is, the direct impact of climate change is the transportation contributes about 15 to 25. This is about overall transportation, not just the freight, any kind of transportation. As per this particular report, I think World Economic Forum has let it out, and the report is about 15 to 25 of global emission is based on transportation alone. In that, okay, in that subset, where the freight and logistics alone, that is air freight, ocean freight, is about 7 to 8%. Then if you add ports and warehouses together, it will be about 11%. So combining freight, ports and warehouses together, which is connected with the logistics, is about 11% is what we understand the emission discharge what we are talking about. So which means, what does it mean? Like about one in about 10% of it comes from logistics, and 11% of it comes just from logistics. Now what we are going to talk about here is, like, how do we leverage with operational efficiencies on reducing the emission and bringing about a sustainable change? That's where the topic is going to be there. Okay, some small improvements where we could make those changes in this. Though there are many asset investment, there are changing of assets, replacing machinery, these are all certain investment related. What I'm going to talk more about is your own efficiency and decisions, how you can make those changes. So I hope I'm able to communicate what the kind of message which I'm going to deliver, freight, on the problems what we face. Now coming to the definition of what is cross border. Okay, those who are not aware of it, it is nothing but international logistics. Cross border logistics is nothing but end to end movement, that is picking up a shipment right from the factory of the exporter, and then transporting it by road or rail, going to the nearest airport or seaport, doing the customs clearance there, and then shipping it out through sea or air mode, and then receiving it in the destination, custom clearing it there, and moving it by a truck or rail to the warehouse of the consignee or an importer. So it is not just about transportation. So it involves a lot of physical transport, one. Second, information flow, the lot of documentation, regulatory compliances. Each country has got their own compliances, so you need to have an intelligent way of understanding what those compliances are in a fastest way, and then coordinating about multiple players: transporter, customs broker, importers country, customs broker, importers country, compliances. All these are independent actors. Okay, but how do you coordinate it effectively and efficiently is where the cross border logistics is going to come talk about it. So this is about cross border. This is the definition, I would say, of cross border logistics. So I'm just wanted to make it about that. So it is just not about transportation. Now, as I explained to you in the previous slide on the flow chart, how it works. So this is very important. It is not about here there are many multiple chain of people involved in it. Before I go into artificial intelligence or sustainability or ESG or any kind of CBAM or different compliances, we need to understand how the whole thing actually flows. Now look at this exporters factory, first part. So when you move that shipment through from an exporter's factory, so when you pick up that shipment from exporter's factory, there is a truck going to the factory. There is an emission let out in that. Okay, that is the first step of emission which is going there in this carbon emission. Second is you bring that shipment or that cargo in a container or in a truck to the port or a warehouse for other activities. So there's a second part, second portion where you have a possible emission that happens. Then you have a lot of documentation. You need to get the approval from customs here, and then we move this in customs. You need to be very clear. There are certain codes like harmonized system codes for each commodity. If something is missed out here, your cargo can be held up. So there is a requirement of some automated or a kind of intelligent system in customs and port activities here. Any errors there can make your shipment on hold, your truck on hold, and the efficiency comes down. Then you, in case everything is okay, then you internationally transport the cargo through air or ocean, which is the current mode of what we have, and then you bring it up, and there are emission on air and on ocean, and then you import that shipment, and there are documentation in importers country. There are multiple, each country has got their own rules and regulations for a particular cargo. Duties are paid, and then again after everything goes through, without any error, in case of error your shipment gets stuck in the customs, and then in case if it is let out, then you inland transport and finally bring it to the importers warehouse or a place in it. So this is how the flow of a cross-border logistics happens here. In case anything gets stuck, it brings about inefficiency, and this happens multiple times. Even today it happens with all the developments what we have. So it is not about one single decision, it is about chain of all these decisions put together is where your carbon emission counts in here. So each and every stage, the point what I'm trying to deliver here is each and every stage there is a carbon related decision that is happening, and carbon is embedded in each of these stages. That's the message which I want to deliver. So operational efficiency in all these stages can help you to reduce certain amount. Now let's look at the next part of it. What makes this cross border, why is it so hard? Why it is not like moving one shipment from Chennai to Pune or Bangalore to Delhi? Why it is not so easy like that? That's the point which we need to decide before we get into what can we do to simplify the whole process here. So here it is all about, like, before we talk about the real solutions, we need to understand a little bit much more here. There is no single entity. You're dependent upon each and every entity here. For example, customer, shipper is an exporter. Okay, he's a different entity. Freight forwarder, who does these arrangements, are a different entity. Carriers means the ships or airlines like Emirates or Air India, and then shipping lines like Hapag-Lloyd or MSC or Maersk or all these HMM. All these shipments are all handled by a carrier, shipping line, which is a different entity. Then ports like Chennai Port, Ennore Port, Navashava, Vizag, Hamburg Port, New York Port. These are all different entities. Customs. Indian customs is different from, for example, UK customs. So this is another area which we need to, which is all different. And then you have multiple modes of moving: road, rail, sea, air. As it is all owned by different entities. So each and every mode has got its own cost involved in it. There is a time involved in it, and there is a carbon involved in it. That's the point which I'm trying to make it in it. So how do you measure all that? How do you measure integrating all these parties is a question by itself, and then controlling all this by taking certain decisions under uncertainties where your real everyday challenge is going to be. So responsibilities are fragmented, but the emission what we are talking, or sustainability, is a kind of a shared concept which we need to align ourselves. So here, if you look at it, in this we have a lot of issues. Issue number one: weather disruptions. Okay, floods, weather disruptions, port congestions. Somewhere suddenly there's some workers strike, drivers don't come. For example, in Chennai, live example, because we are in Chennai, it happens everywhere. You have a Diwali or a Pongal, most of the drivers go to their native. There's no drivers available to move the containers. So there is a lot of issues coming in there. Regulatory changes. Now the regulatory, lot of changes happen now and then. There are a lot of GST related changes happening. Then you have the international regulatory changes happening. Then there are tariffs put, like somebody wakes up in the morning and then puts up a tariff, then those changes happen. So then there is a demand and supply volatility which happens. So all these decisions, are have to be taken without any complete information. You may have sometimes complete information, sometimes you don't have it. So these are all complex systems what you would come across in this. So how do you take an intelligent decision under these certainties? Do you have a dashboard? Do you have somebody supporting you on an intelligent decision? Is it coordinated? Is it technology? Can it coordinate all this? These are all some of the questions which we will answer at the later slides here in this. So sustainability is a hard concept here, but what is possible is optimization of all these chains, value chains involved, using an AI or any other layer which can do that, and putting up a kind of energy efficient strategy is what we'll be discussing in further. Now, coming to the next point is cross-border logistics as a decision system. What is it? What is that we are talking here about the decision system here? Yeah. So from movement of the shipments to a decision is what which we are talking about here. So here, when we talk about decisions, we are talking something like you know you're using different mode of shipments: air freight, ocean freight, road transport, and all those kind of things. So here, what do we do? Like, do we use an air freight and increase the emission, or you use a sea freight by reducing the emission? But again, the question comes the criticality of the shipment. Or you use a combined of air plus sea together and then come out with a kind of concept, kind of decision. So here the objectivity is completely on the cost, lead time to make the, to get the cargo to the destination, and the carbon. So here, this is where the decision is. So the sustainable decision comes in cost, lead time of the cargo, and then the carbon. Okay, so this is where it is. So how do you do that? There are many methods which we will discuss. How do we do that and all that? Whether we use a direct or an indirect route, or there is an inventory buffer, we can keep it. A lot of things in it. Then there are constraints which will come, like regulatory constraints, data gaps. We don't have the full information, service levels. So these kind of things which we will come. These are all something which we'll have to conflict among ourselves before we take these decisions. Now, I'm not sure if you have heard of CBAM regulations, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism in Europe, which has come from January 2026. Then ESG reporting, that is environment, social governance reporting is mandate. Lot of new regulatory things are coming up globally. Then with all this, the emergent thing of sustainability is coming, which needs to be, implemented across the board, across the entire operational and organization. So that's where the decisions needs to be taken. So the key of this particular slide which I'm talking about is like sustainability is not one specific department, an HR department or a kind of department. It is the decision of the entire chain of the entire departments. It is not a single decision. So everybody is part of this is what which I'm just going to talk about here. Now, coming back to the next, where sustainability breaks, where does sustainability break down is something which we need to look into it. Sustainability breaks. Sustainability is not a department. It is a, the reality check. What we need to do is the sustainable reality check is what which we need to do. We need to look at the current environment, what we are talking here about, the sustainable reality here, and then the time pressure, what you have, incomplete information, and policies is something which we need to look into ourselves and take a decision. So these are some of the realities which we will come across at any given point of time. So so our decisions are going to be something like, you cannot reject sustainability, but your decision has to be done in this kind of situation: time pressure, incomplete information, misaligned with what incentive you get based on that particular decision. So these are some of the areas which we will have to have. So our objective is, yes, time constraint is there, but is planning going to be okay? Incomplete information, yes. Is there any intelligent way of gathering all the information beforehand by reducing the time? and then what incentive or why are we doing this, that part is what which we need to look into it much more seriously, is what I think so here. Now let's break down of the mode. This is a very interesting slide, because why mode choice matters is like sea freight. Sea freight contributes about 15 grams of carbon per ton, of per ton per kilometer. That's the range which we are talking about here. That is, and here we are talking about from a cargo. I'm talking about from a cargo. Rail freight is 20 to 40, and then road freight is 60 to 150, which is next highest to air freight. Air freight is obviously going to be very high. So your choices, like, you can't have, it is like, how do you do this? Like, you can't take one single decision. You need to use all four of them, but you need to outweigh what is very critical with sustainability. So that's where your decision comes in. So here we are trying to see, like, can you avoid an air shipment which emits about 500 to 1500 grams of carbon per ton per kilometer, and then use a rail freight, or sorry, a sea freight. So what planning needs to be done? And or can you combine air freight to a hub and then move into a sea freight, or move sea freight to a particular hub in some other country and then air freight from there? Like this, you need to make these decisions are very critical. So one decision can change emission by an order of magnitude. This is what the take up of this particular slide which I wanted to communicate here. So there are other things also, like warehouse and many things, which I'm not going into it right now, but you need to but these are some of the things, parameters, which is from a research parameter. These are some of the emissions what has been discharged by the mode of transport. Now this is a study done by BCG, Boston Consulting Group, with World Economic Forum. So this is a kind of sustainable logistics and the market, global market. How is it becoming? How's thing? What's happening there? So globally, if you see the green logistics market between 2024 to 2030, you see that kind of growth in that green logistics market. Highest is North America, followed by Europe. And I don't know after this how it is likely to be. Most probably Europe will overtake North America with the things coming up there. So Asia Pacific is still lower. So these are all the growth part, and then the penetration of the market by each region is what we are looking into it. So penetration, if you look at, is like highest penetration is in Europe. You see, almost European Union has implemented a lot of carbon related like factories. If you set up in European Union, you need to be you need to come under the carbon regulatory system. Then if you are exporting from here to European Union from 2026, you have CBAM and different regulations which you need to declare, and you need to pay the carbon tax on that. So a lot of these things are also happening there. And then if you look at the kind of the penetration level in Asia Pacific is relatively low. I don't have the India figures right now with me, but it should be lower than the average Asia Pacific, because we don't have any carbon regulation at the moment in India, is what I could infer from there. And so here what I'm looking into, so the whole thing is like, it is no longer something like which we talk off the mainstream. It is something which is coming up. It is growing. There are penetrations happening. So growth rates are very clear. Green logistics is going to be very futuristic. Those who can specialize in finding solutions for the green logistics, you will have this trajectory growth. And penetration is in Europe itself is only 57%. So you have a lot of scope if you have a solution on your hand. So these are the opportunities what we see from this. And the fast growing market is also Asia Pacific is quite fast growing, is what we could see from that. But still penetration is level is catching up, but we have a lot of things to do here. Sorry, hello. Okay, now I'm coming to the next slide. So World Economic Forum 2025, there are some findings. So this is what we are going to start about what WEF is, World Economic Forum. From their recent research, they found that how do you use technology for decarbonization is something very interesting concept they have come out. The study says that AI enabled decarbonization potential. So what they say, using an AI could enable, I mean, it's not about AI or ML alone, which I've just mentioned, AI and ML. It's like technology, using a technology, we are looking into 10 to 15% of reduction in terms of your freight and logistics emission. Okay, so this is a very important concept. See, here you're not investing something on a machinery, you're not investing on an asset. It is just about your intelligent decision, how you can reduce about 10 to 15% in your logistics. So this is going to be something which we need to think much more and work out a net strategy to reduce it without any kind of capex or an investment. Okay, so that's where we are talking here about. Here we are not talking, this is about a white paper. You can also figure this out. It's about a World Economic Forum white paper, which is developed through partnership with McKinsey. So this is a very very critical. So this made me to think a lot. I envisioned each and every step what we do on our daily lives, and I was looking at how do you do that. And then a lot of research has been gone through it, and to figure out, yes, it is possible. It is not something a theoretical paper what they talked about. It is possible, in that is what we could do that. And so this further slides will explain to you this. This is like a scenario, a situation here. It is not something like a forecast what we are talking about. It is a scenario based on day-to-day scenarios what we are looking into it, like how each and every decision we could improve here. So here I'm not talking about buy new EV trucks. I'm not talking about invest on a windmill technology. I'm not talking about change your DG generators or something like that. I'm not telling you I'm just telling you some few things, like the same trucks, how you can use it more efficiently. Same warehouses what you have today, how do you reduce certain percentage of carbon emission? And the same routes what you use for moving the vehicles, how do you use it? I mean, like, how do you use with whatever we have today? So that's where the efficiency model what we are talking about. So the basic thing is, we are basically using a technology for everything and seeing what we could do to reduce about 10 to 15 percentage. Now, where does this 10 to 15 come from? That's where the next question what we are talking about. So 10 to 15 is coming from somewhere. So where is it coming from? So World Economic Forum, where they have given a kind of hint on this, is like operational efficiency. So when they talk about operational efficiency, what they are talking here is about like route optimization. Like, you take from, for example, IIT Madras, you're going through Chennai port, for example. You can use from Adyar Adyar route, and you can use the beach road. Or should I go through another route? In a very simple terms I'm talking about, of course you know it better. So better routing efficiency is what we are talking about when we are talking operational efficiency. Dwell time, that is how long the dwell time for it is. That is the time what we are using. Then to use the congested routes, operational efficiency, where it picks up, how do you use it? For example, avoiding the congested route. So basic operational efficiency is what we are talking about, which can save between 4 to 7%. So here we are not this is like waste, avoiding any kind of wastage, like a lean kind of what we are talking about, lean manufacture or lean kind of methods here. Second is capacity utilization. When you say capacity utilization, you can say about 2 to 4%. What is capacity? So I don't want to talk about general theory of capacity utilization. Like in our day to day, I'll tell you how it happens. Load consolidation. Like, I have example, a 20 feet container fits about say 25 tons. Now, should I load 12 tons, or can I load little bit more? The capacity utilization. Then I talk about network matching. Do I use this route or return to, all those kind of things. Then if I move a container for an import, I'm importing a container into Chennai port from China. Then I'm moving this container to Sri Perumbudur in a factory there. And then I have to, after unloading the cargo, I need to bring this empty container to the warehouse, which is located somewhere near Chennai or Ennur port area. Instead of that, can I move this particular shipment? That is, can I use that same empty container to the next factory nearby and load an export cargo and bring it to the Chennai port and export it back to China or any other country? Do we have a solution for this? I won't say we don't have it, though there are a lot of people talking about it. At least we don't have it practically there. So the capacity utilization. Then it is the same truck, same ship, same container, but we are trying to change it. Then the model shift. When you say model shift, what we are talking about is, do I need to use an air freight or an ocean freight? Do I need to use an electrical truck or a diesel truck? Okay, or do I need to use something like use partly by ocean and partly by air and ensure that I deliver? So these are all some of the decisions what I need to take here. So it is all about certain distribution across, these three. So we are going to discuss all our case studies on this: operational efficiency, capacity utilization, optimizing, model shifts. So here the assets are going to remain same, they are not replaced. So it's all about the efficiency what we're going to. So these 3 points, keep this in your mind. So we're going to talk a lot of case studies on this. Okay, so let's talk about a typical shipment. I'm just introducing a case. How do we do that? Let's let's take an imaginative case, like you're booking a shipment from any of the Indian ports. Okay, because we are in Chennai, let's take Chennai port to Hamburg port, Germany. Okay, let's assume something like that. We have a tight delivery window. If it doesn't reach us in 30 days, production will stop in Germany, somewhere in Germany. I have a sustainable target, and the vessel sailing time is about 32 days. If somewhere it gets stuck, the production gets hampered, which means it will not reach on time. So I have a sustainability target. I need to look into a low emission method of exporting this, and I have multiple routes. Do I use like shipment from India mostly goes to Colombo, Singapore, and from there it gets transshipped. Nowadays there are direct vessels as well. But if a war happens somewhere in Middle East, how do the shipments may not go in some routes, they may change the route. So with all this, how do I take these decisions? So do I take the shipment, part of the shipment, the critical portion of it, bring it up to Gulf, that is Dubai or free ports like that, and then air freight from there to Germany? So I save 50% of air freight cost. I save a little bit on the sustainability because I'm moving from Chennai to Dubai or Jebel Ali port by sea, and then from there air freighting. So these are some of the scenarios we have, on our table here. Or is that vessel not calling Chennai port? So do I need to move this cargo rail freight or road freight it from here to Navashava in Mumbai, and there is a vessel? So these are different scenarios which you need to take a decision. Okay, so each option is going to take, you're going to have this particular thing, and we need to deliver this particular case in this. So this is where I was looking into a kind of situation here. So the first thing which we need to look at here is decision point one. Decision point one is about model shift. So here when we are talking about model shift, we are talking here about something like a air or ocean. So here air freight is the fastest mode, reliable but very high carbon emission here. Ocean freight is a low kind of carbon emission. So how do we take? So feasible shift. So here here we need to take about, if you move this shipment from air to ocean, you're going to save on carbon. But if you're going to move into an air freight, then you're going to increase the carbon. So here we need to take a decision on this. So this is one area where your daily decision comes. This is not a very like on-off scenario. It is a very daily scenario which you will be taking a decision here. Similarly, port congestion and detention. There are port congestions, labor strikes happening here. So again, here we are talking about how do you take a decision on this? There are visibility existing. I'm not telling the visibility is not existing. Visibility exists in terms of areas where if you go through any tracking site, you'll know where the vessel is coming or flights are coming and all that. But here there is no guidance here Do I take this? Do I take that? Visibility is there, which is now everybody has got every visibility. You have an app for it, but guidance is not there. Intelligent decisions are not there. So these are some of the things which we have to take a decision on this. So these are some of the things which we will operational efficiency silently. So these things which we need to look into it. Next is capacity utilization, which I've already talked about it. Partial loads or consolidating multiple loads or empty return legs, network imbalance, and how do you use an AI to reduce the wastage in it, consolidate each of your cargo, are all something which we need to which you will come across at any given point of time. So here everything you have carbon embedded in it. So the decisions on this, like, are you using a truck capacity of 60% or 70% or 90%? Is your packaging fitting into that particular model? Is the truck idling somewhere? Are all something which you'll have to take this. So you cannot reduce carbon fully, but you can eliminate to your maximum. So here is a very typical case here: container reuse and things like that, where we container reuse circular. So this is a very real case scenario which I would like to issue you. There was a shipment from Istanbul in Turkey. From Turkey, we have imported this cargo to Navashava in Mumbai. From Mumbai, it was custom cleared, brought it to Chennai in their factory in Oragadam in Sri Perumbudur, somewhere outskirts of Chennai. Then this shipment was unloaded there, and then the empty container was moved from Chennai Oragadam factory to Navashava, Mumbai back. So there is a road transportation, import custom clearance thing, and then moving it back to Navashava. Now here, we do not know if some other exporter in the nearby or the next factory, do they require the same container for bringing it, exporting it back to Istanbul. We do not have a system where we can check everyday basis in it. Okay, so, or can we move this container to Chennai port, and from Chennai you can sea freight it, so that you reduce the emission from Chennai to Navashava on the carbon. So is there an intelligent system guiding you it? Very rarely we have today. So ideal way of this flow is from Istanbul. So if you see the right side, the same container needs to be used for export stuffing to a different destination, or same thing to Istanbul. So do we have certain systems where we need to find out more on the research part of it? Though there are certain systems, but how efficient it is. Like when we did this, we do not, at least I did not have any system where it was readily available to check, something like that. So these are some of the gaps what we have still today, which we may need to understand. Next case, this is a real voice of a customer. There was a customer who said that, yes, the rates for a big RFQ of about 1,000 containers per year from India to multiple countries. So this customer was based out of Maharashtra. So this customer told us, yes, the lowest cost bidder will win the RFQ, but we will also be looking at low carbon solutions in it. So it is not cost alone. So I will see the carbon emission before I look into a kind of final decision. Cost is important, but I will also look at carbon emission part. So is your company an ESG company? ESG, as I explained to you, it is like, are you complied with certain sustainable green regulations in it? These are some of the things they had. So many of the companies who do not be a part of sustainable logistics, like as madam introduced in the beginning, you will lose this particular scenario. You will not be part of this RFQ. You will be left over. This is what is happening with a lot of companies. So here, do you have a dashboard in your company which talks about kind of how much emission is being let out? Is there a software? Is there an intelligent system like AI telling you every day on a dashboard sustainable impact? So these something which we need to align ourselves. There are guidance in it. There are automated systems which tells you how much emission you did for your shipping and all that. So many companies still do not have this. So this is something like a policy which many companies are having this, which is going to become, it is not going to be something like a ignored point. It is going to be the decision point. So sustainability impact is a real time thing which is coming up. So that, as I told you, Asia Pacific penetration is only some 39%. So this is happening every day. So cannot avoid it as it is. So this is about, this is another scenario. This is the third case which we have found out. This is little bit not just cross border. This is about a customer where he had used it, an OEM automotive manufacturer, where they used a system of app. They could track down a kind of for all the domestic movements and shipments which are moving from, for example, from their warehouse in Sri Perumbudur or Chennai, and then they look at every day they have truck movements, say about 50 to 60 trucks are placed there. They ship it all over the country, their parts and things like that. So they are looking at their truck which is coming in for loading will not stay in the factory more than 2 hours. So there is an app which is being created there, and that app tells you, alerts you that this truck has entered at 2 p.m. It has to leave by 4 p.m. So all the stakeholders are getting an alert. So there is something which they track. So beyond 2 hours becomes an inefficiency. That is a part of the KPI. So then what happens is their warehouse has got machine learning guided storage location pick and pack. So things happen very fast here. So the forklift usage is also very efficient in this particular thing, and their warehouses are like solar rooftop warehouses and all that. So they have certain kind of reduction in terms of your energy savings. And then the procurement, the best part is like this particular manufacturer has got a policy to show that carbon, to reduce the carbon emission. They have developed the suppliers which is within 50-kilometer radius in and around. So 80% of their materials are sourced from these suppliers. Okay, so this is a very intelligent way where they try to use this particular way. So it is not about just make in India, it is all about sustainability, how they use a strategy to source their raw materials, which is about look-in. So by this you reduce, you, for example, if you have your raw material coming from Pune or Gurgaon, so you can imagine the air freight or road freight, and so this particular manufacturer has reduced it by using these systems here. Now coming to the next part is like visibility to intelligence. So the entire thing is on a very visibility is there. Most of us know, you put a track and trace, you go through any website, you'll come to know where your cargo is and all those things. Okay, so the visibility is there in that, so no doubt in it. So most companies, I think almost every, even small companies, have got visibility everywhere in that. Prediction is one area. With all this visibility, are you able to predict it? To more or less you can predict it, like you can predict approximately, that is also there. But here the optimization comes into play. What to trade off, that's where the decision comes to it. Optimization and governance. So how do you optimize and what decisions you're going to take? So some visibility to an intelligent decision is what we are talking about in this particular here. So here there are carbon budgets, carbon budgets are given to companies. Then you have something called your constraints are there, your challenges are there, regulatory compliances are there. So you have all the knowledge, but are you able to take decision? Is dashboards converting into a decision where you're able to convert it? So are you using technology to take that decision? That's where AI comes into play. Intelligent AI or agentic AI comes into play. So this is where the next one is generative AI. Okay, now here I'm talking completely about decisions. Now what is the role of generative AI? I think most of us use today, like at least our company uses a lot of AI in anything. Like you send a mail, they just copy and put that in the mail, and then the mail gets into AI. Or many things we are using AI. I think not only our company, I think across everybody now started using AI, no doubt in that. So it is like, the point of the slide is something like this. You can optimize through this AI, but human decisions are equally important. It increases and better AI can be used for betterment of human decisions, is what I'm trying to show in this particular slide here. How? Now first is cross border trade and compliance intelligence. If you look at interpretation of customs rules, you put it into a generative AI and you ask them this particular HS code, this is the shipment, you don't even have to put, you just give the description. It can give you exactly what are the possible HS codes available, and what are the things, and what are the duty structure, or whichever country it is being used. So all these things are there in this. So it's very fast. You don't need to go ask 10 people. It is there in your table in 5 minutes. CBAM is, as I explained to you, carbon border adjustment mechanism, which is implemented by European Union countries. Okay, this is effective from Jan 2026, and there are a lot of environmental safety and governance obligations in this. And if you don't oblige by this, you will be charged. Carbon charges are there. So are you aware of it? So generative AI can help you with these details in it. AEOs, authorized economic operator requirements. So these are all certain customs related. So authorized exporters are something like you can use. So these compliance knowledge for you to before taking a decision is there in the generative AI. You can try it out after this seminar. You'll come to know about it. Documentation and drafting. There are bill of ladings, invoices, packing list of the customer. So you can just put it into a AI system. It can just detect any kind of challenges, risk parameters, invoices, packing list. Is there any discrepancy? Is there a mismatch between invoice and packing list? Description of the cargo, is something missing for the compliance? Very fast you can get this. So this is where you can use your technology and use it efficiently, or you can optimize your time for something like that. So next is decision explainability. Translating these into a kind of, how do you use, should I use an air freight route, or how do you use it? How do I use the optimizing these outputs by using certain modes, different modes? Should I use rail or air, or is there any delay? Is there a port congestion? Just put into it, it tells you these ports have got. So certain decisions can be made with the information what you have. Then exceptional handling, it's like port congestions and all these kind of areas. You have a information through this, so you can just put, is there anything happening in European ports now? And then it tells you, yes, there are possibilities, these are the things happening. So it helps you in finding out all this information for you to take that. And it's not like you need to search multiple times, it tells you very fast. And then cross party coordination. You have shippers, as I told you, forwarder, carrier, authorities, and everything. So how do I use these AI for coordinating with this? How do I draft a standardized emails, communication methods in this? Then how do I translate these compliances into a proper communication where an ordinary person can understand? Are all something. And then how do I communicate my expectation to others? Are all something which generative AI can use it. I'm sure you would be using, or most of us would be using. Now, having said this, you also have AI agents. There are some companies in supply chain and logistics which are currently using AI agents, but it is not there like an affordable way or everyday use. This is what I come to understand from my knowledge about it. There are companies in it. So here also task level autonomy with human guardrails are there, like effective use of cases like exception, disruption handling. See, I'm not going into every points here. The matter here is, suppose there is a problem happening. Suppose the shipment got stuck on the way. The AI agent should be able to give you an alert immediately saying, and your customer an alert saying that, hello, your shipment is stuck. The best possible next decision you need to take is, this is likely to arrive not on 10th of March, it is likely to come on 15th of March. So plan your production accordingly. So then you can take a decision. So the next option to it is like, you may need to air freight a critical part, and this is the current air freight rates going on from this place to this place. So that decision is where an AI agent is able to help us. So that part is still missing, or it is not available readily with most of the, it is all upcoming. It is all something which we think we can still have it. Reminders on it, like a customer service reminds you, okay, your shipment is arriving on expected day, time of arrival, ETA. In shipping we use ETA. We can't use ATA because nothing is predictable. So we use expected time of arrival. So it is expected at this date. So if there is something change in it, so an AI agent should be able to communicate to all parties. Okay. So sustainability guardrails, like your budget for carbon is so much of amount. So you're going to exceed it if you use it. Okay. So that intelligence should be automatically coming in. You put a shipment or something like that is what, looking forward to have that. Circular logistics, as I told you, empty container movements are costing everybody carbon very high, because you don't use it, you bring it because of various regulatory, various reasons in it. We still have to do more research how to utilize this, through a AI agent can predict, okay, your there is a container, 10 containers are coming to Ambattur Industrial Estate for a shipping company. So now there is a nearby exporter 10 kilometers from, like a Uber, 10 kilometers from here, who wants to export 5 of those containers to a different country. So instead of bringing back to the warehouse, which is another 35 to 40 kilometers, go another 5 kilometers and load that in that container. Do we have a solution to it today? We still need to ask ourselves. So right now, as far as I know, we still need to do a lot of research in it. So if an agent, AI agent, can help the entire community of logistics providers, exporters, everybody into a kind of unified platform, then this can help a lot. This can save a lot of money, carbon, sustainability, green, and a lot of things in it. Because you know how big a container is and how big a truck is, how irritating it is when you travel in a highway, a container comes, he's not moving left or right. So you know how it works, right? So that's where I wanted to just mention to you here. So do we have an AI agent who can help us in it? Though human is the final authority, we still have a lot of things to do in this. Caution: when we talk too much of AI, there is a caution also. AI is not just because you use a generative or agent, it is not automatically green. You'll have to calculate how carbon AI emits. For example, technology. Then you have your data centers, how much it emits. So when you calculate it, you need to have a data for. Suppose I'm using a particular AI, and how much that emits. If I create so much of dashboard, do we have the visibility of that? We need to see that. So that also needs to be taken into consideration. And the electricity use. So if I'm using an AI, am I using a solar energy for using an AI, or am I using a what do you say, coal related electric energy? So these are all small things. The certain things we may miss it out, but we would need to have these things in our situation in it. So we need to see like, when you give it in AI, what we need to see is like emission versus how they use it and all those kind of things, which we need to see. So AI is not automatically green. We need to calculate how much AI emits also from that carbon part of that. Then I'm coming to the next one is on the I think I have last two slides probably. So I'll just quickly go. These are all certain areas where we can have this particular global sustainability part of it, which we need to see into the global sustainability policies and cross border. So from ESG to trade rules. So what is happening here is like something very simple here. Sustainability is not like a CSR activity in a company. It is going to be mandatory. It has already become mandatory. You need to declare, you need to pay carbon if you're using. So ESG and all that, earlier it was voluntary reporting. Now it is all coming as a mandatory part if you need to be part of business, because the investors who invest on your company are looking at, are you able, can they govern it from remotely? If you have the proper ESG, that is environmental safety of employees, governance, you have the ethical governance, then only you can have all these kind of things in it. So very important, it is becoming mandatory. I'm proud to say Rohlig, our company, has already adopted about out of 17 ESG parameters. We have implemented 8, and we are implementing wherever we could possibly have that. I'm sure many companies also have that. Then policy is like carbon pricing and border mechanism is very important. Compliance for European Union exports from anywhere in the globe. Though US has not adopted, which they were supposed to because of certain policies there, but EU has already adopted it. So there is a calculation of carbon. So if you export above 50 metric tons of iron, steel, aluminum, fertilizer, agriculture, electricity, hydrogen, all these parameters, you need to declare the kind of carbon emitted through your manufacturing. And then what like for example, if it's steel and aluminum, are using a blast furnace or a electrical furnace, so the kind of carbon emitted in it, and based on that there is a tax put on it. Okay, carbon tax are put. So then the future is going to be what routes, cost, eligibility, mode are all, you need to declare all that. So earlier it used to be a kind of theory, a philosophy. Today it has become mandatory, and there is a price you need to pay if you don't reduce it. And tomorrow it is going to cover all the other areas. Climate policy embedded. See what is changing. Climate policies are also embedded in it. Trade access, cost structures. Now what is scope 3? There is something called scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Very technical jargon. nothing great about it. Scope 1 is nothing but your own, your manufacturing process is what scope 1 is. How much carbon is emitted through manufacturing process called scope 1. So CBAM in European Union is now counting on scope 1, and scope 2 is what are the resources used, what kind of water and all that. So currently it is calculated on scope 1 and scope 2. Scope 3 is value chain. For example, logistics, like how much emission has happened in air freight, ocean freight. So currently they are not calculating that, but in future it is likely to come. So but companies have adopted it already. That's how it is going to come. Third is procurement decisions, like product traceability requirement. You may be using all kind of carbon emission technology, but is your vendor using it? Is your tier one vendor who's using it? So all these things, what is the process he is using it? So all these things they're going to trace it down the line, whom you're going to use and all those kind of things. Then delays, emission, regulatory risk, MSME, the small and medium enterprise, MSME is called small and medium enterprises, manufacturers, they'll have a lot of challenges here, because 45% of India's exports are MSME kind of company. I think it is slightly less than 500 crore turnover per annum. Those are the companies which cannot invest a huge. So can we use a technology to reduce their costs? So digital support, can it be given for them, are all something which we need to think about it. And how you can help them in CBAM compliances or any other sustainable compliances with low cost in it is which we need to look into it. So it is a carbon system and a compliance system. So that's one thing which we need to have that in our mind. So these are some of the things which we need to do more research on, how to translate that policy into a kind of low cost for a normal Indian exporter. For example, an exporter in Tirupur, how does an exporter who does a kind of textile machinery, how does it going to help him? Something like that is which we need to do. That's one thing here. Now, research gaps maybe for IIT, it's for everybody. I just put it for IIT because of because most of the thing which I believe that we still can do a lot here. What remains unsolved? Decision, multi-objective, cost, time, carbon uncertainty. Though we have some dashboards, is what decisions, how it is going to happen, are all something which we need to do. In uncertainty, how do we take decisions? Is there something helping us to take decisions? Are all something which we need to keep that in mind. Second is on the practical tools. Whatever we talked about, can a normal exporter have it on a low cost, in a shared technology? And something which we can still think of it. Then human AI research, like incentives, override, like trust in AI decision. Because in AI, if you see generative AI, whatever you put it, it will try to go whatever, try to make you very happy, saying that yeah, you're right, this kind of thing. So is that trustable? AI decision, is it trustable, or do we have a trust mechanism which we can have that? Or something like that. Because large companies, a big steel exporter can afford all this, but in a normal MSME exporter may not be able to. So we'll have to see that. Where should humans get involved? Where should AI help? That line needs to be drawn. Policy translation are very important, like global policies like CBAM. For a normal person, he still did not understand. He's trying to understand. So how do we do that into a kind of how do we use a very practical system in it to have it? Then living labs like IIT certainly can get access to ports, warehouses, corridors everywhere, and would be happy also to support them wherever we could, jointly work together on all those areas. So these are some of the research gap we still have, and which we can still see that area in it. So with this, I would like to thank everybody for so much for your time. Let me close it where I think sustainability is just not about cross-border logistics or anything in it. It is like every day where we use it for a lot of things in our daily lives also. So with all this, I would like to thank you so much, and vanakkam. So I just hope my time was okay. I've completed it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Raghunandan, for this session. It's really insightful, and thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone have any questions? Can ask Mr. Raghu right now.
Hello, sir. Hello. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Uh, I I loved your presentation. I like the way you spoke about how uh, each player can implement the sustainable practices. But the thing is, the players, especially the people who operate who work in the front line, they are resistant to digitalization. So how can you track your carbon like your carbon usage when the vendor is refusing, when most of the vendors you're contacting is not giving you the compliance certificates, or they're saying they don't do it at all?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very practical question, ma'am. You have put it up because you're right. These are all the practical difficulties in day to day. It is difficult to convince a normal vendor to give us all the certification, but it needs to be understood. Like as I told you, the penetration level is quite low at the moment. Now, for example, if a particular vendor is exporting, for example, to a kind of European Union, and if he's got 50 tons above, say, steel and aluminium worth in it, metric tons, so then the exporter needs to declare the kind of, as I told you, scope one emission what they use. So if he's declaring it, the vendors whom he uses also needs to comply to that, which is a mandatory requirement. Otherwise, what happens, what is the impact of it is his shipment won't go through and the cost increases for him by, the current research is about 25% is what the carbon tax can increase. So then it ends up in a kind of business scenario where you might lose that business. Second is, as you rightly said, yes, practically to educate the people on the carbon emission, because the government here in India still needs to implement it a little bit much more aggressively from a policy angle, which is not yet come in aggressively like a European Union or there. So that is also another area why it is not being mandatorily there, which is a challenge. But I think by consistent training, the impact what they see, what can happen to them in their daily life if a climate change does not come into a kind of sustainable way, can, I think, those education levels, much more of kind of training to them, can certainly help in it. But yes, there is a practical challenge in it. You're right.
Thank you, Dipti. Anyone else with a question?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes, sir.
So actually, I had a couple of questions. The first question was mainly about airline cargo transportation. So, what are some critical decisions that you commonly occur in day-to-day operations, for which there are not many decision support tools available, specifically for airlines?
If I understand your question correctly, you're asking like what kind of scenarios you will take a decision when an air freight comes because it emits the largest carbon, correct? Is it something
Yes,
like that?
yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
There are two things in it. Once it is, suppose, let's say we are exporting a cargo from here to New York. Okay, you can currently go there. There is no you can use a direct flight in case it is available from Chennai to New York. So the carbon emitted is slightly lower compared to a flight which goes from here to Dubai, and then from Dubai you move the cargo to New York. Okay, because there is a hub there, so there is a transportation there, there is a storage there, and then you need to re-export it. There is a slight difference, is what we could find out from our research. Now, do we need to air freight? That's the first question which we need to ask. Okay, why can't we move through ocean freight? But in your scenario, if you're asking this question, it looks like it is a critical cargo, maybe for a production or somebody. So that's why the air freight question comes. Is it right, Mr. Akash? Like,
Yes, sir. So
perfect. Yeah.
mainly the focus. What I wish to know is what are some decisions which are critical but have not received as much attention or are currently lacking based on technology support or AI support.
Absolutely. So what we in our daily life do here is, first is, do we need to air freight is the question. But if we need to air freight, it is critical cargo. Do we need the entire cargo to be air freighted, or parts of it can be air freighted? That is the second question which we ask. Third is, if it is not that very critical, we have another solution which we try to use. For a shipment, you can move the shipment through sea from port A to port B. Then from port B to port C, you can air freight that. So 50% of your shipment is going through sea freight with the lesser emission. Then you go to certain, there are certain hubs all over, like Hong Kong or Jebel Ali in Dubai, where you have it's called a free port. In free ports, what happens is there is a lesser customs compliance. You can transfer that sea shipment into an air shipment and then air freight it to New York or port C. So like this, you can reduce on the emission and then you can move the cargo. So these decisions can be taken in it. So the first question is, do you need an air freight? Can you reduce that air freight component? Third is, you move the shipment partly by sea, transfer to air and bring it. So like this, you can calculate your carbon emission in this. So in this, how do you take a quick decision? So that's where the AI helps in it. Like, what are the freight charges from this port to this port, and then what are the transfer fees, and then what is the thing in that. So if a customer can get a dashboard with some AI giving you an immediate quick solution on that, can help a lot.
Yes, actually.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Akash, for that question. Anyone else? Can we have the next question, please?
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear.
Okay, so thank you for insightful presentation. So my question I want to ask you on the AI part, sir, like we mentioned, the small companies there and the big, so AI part where the data is involved and you built algorithm with it. And since the big company has a lot of data, so they can have a good AI develop model, like which can have more efficient way of producing results, and they can be robust. But what about the small companies where they don't generate much amount of data? How they can leverage AI? How they can build their own model? That's right. Anything happening on that note, sir?
That is, see, currently the same question was there 10 years back when automation came into place. So then there were models which was created with a subscription model where it is a little bit cost effective and a smaller companies can use that. So that has transformed into a kind of a high cost model to a low cost model. That's when the automation took place many years, like I remember 10 years back maybe. Now automation is very simple. I pay about very less amount and I'm able to get a lot of automation. So there are two things in it. In a smaller company, you cannot have a AI model is something like I think that we need to question ourselves, because I think AI models are lesser cost compared to what we used to have it few years back. So that is one thing in it. Second is how efficiently you can use it. Now using that AI, there is a general perception that you'll reduce your workforce. It is not so. You may reduce you can optimize it better. For example, with AI, for example, you're investing 1 lakh on an AI. Now you need to see with that investment of AI, one is I'm able to reduce so much of cost and how much business I can increase. So with 1 lakh investment, without AI, I'm able to do a profit of 1 crore. With AI 1 lakh, with that 1 crore, I may need 10 people. Now with that same 1 lakh investment, with a 1 lakh investment on AI, or 2 lakhs, sorry, 2 lakhs investment on AI, can I do 2 crores of business with additional 10 people in that? So the question here is like, do I use AI and generate more business from that part of it, and then reduce the cost on the investment on AI? Is a decision, an investment decision, which we need to take. And same AI, can you use it for carbon monitoring, sustainable logistics, optimization of operations, optimization of fleet, and all those kind of things, which we need to see in that. This is for smaller companies specifically. Larger companies, as you know, there are of course FedEx is part of it. There are other companies in US who claims to have saved about 400 million per annum just by using a lot of AI tools to for their route optimization and things like that. Of course, larger companies can invest in it, but smaller companies, as I said, can work out certain models, business models, where more business can be the target in it, and then investment on AI can be thought about. I'm not sure if I answered your question in that, but
I think I'm got the idea, sir, like what you want to convey. So
Okay.
it's about the business what we care.
Yes.
How
You
we
can
using the
change
tool.
it from a business angle rather
Sure.
than just from an optimal on a human angle too. I mean, like just
Yes, sir.
from a optimal. Yeah.
So one more thing, like it's
Sure.
like a hypothetical thing. What I'm thinking. So AI is developing every day. I would say, like the amount of data is generating every day.
Yeah.
So in future, like, can we see the part where the AI can take over, like complete automation? Can we see this part in our coming years, or maybe
See,
in 10 years down the line,
automation. Okay,
where
there are two
humans
things.
are not involved and the complete takeover done by the AI and something like that?
AI can take over, but do you trust 100% AI? The question comes here because everything AI is very like you can see. I always you think in this format in it. Human decision is certainly important here, but generative current with the current model in it, can you trust 100% of AI, or can you use AI for your reducing your time? And that is what currently we use. Futuristic, as you said, if AI agents can take certain decisions, but you need to still have a human is very important here, because I think it like that, because you can't leave everything to an AI to a large extent, because the reason being is like, when it comes to a kind of situation where you may need a lesser human involvement is what I see, but human involvement is a must when it kind of using an AI agent or anything in that. Because AI agent, if there is an error made by AI agent in some way, then it can cost us a lot. So the trust factor, drawing a line between AI and human, is very critical in it, because today, as you said, a lot of data is there in it. Do you trust those data? Can AI make a mistake? So these questions which we need to think, because I myself has found many things that AI was using it at least 80% right, but the 20% one critical thing, it has not got that thing. And then when we corrected it, oh, okay, I have corrected it now, and the generative AI comes in, says that, yeah, that's a good point, I've corrected it now. So there is still a kind of question whether I can use it fully.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak, for your question. Can we have the next question, please? Any other questions? Okay, if we don't have any further questions, we may close the session. Thank you, Mr. Raghu. That was a very insightful session. Thank you for sharing your experience and expertise with us. We look forward to working with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, IITM FedEx Smart Center, for having me this, and thank you all the listeners here. I'm sure we can do and have a nice weekend. Vanakkam.
Thank you.
Thank you.